It's such a weird dichotomy when I think about those kinds of musics, because they're so hyper-controlled, and yet the ultimate result is something of rubber, you know, rubber band time. And so it's a weird kind of a thing. Now, to this day, I still think, you know, there's parts of me that say you can improvise things that might, you know, be easier to accomplish than to spend so much time, you know.
But you guys, you set the bar, you laid the groundwork. I mean, you know, drummers like myself were at Berkeley listening to the Black Page and learning from the Black Page, but you didn't have that before you.
I mean, well, that one, you know, he walked in with, but there was the stuff from One Size Fits All, and you know, all the orchestral stuff he had done that I had to do, and that was tough, man. That was like going to school. I spent a lot of hours in a practice room, you know, working on those charts, owning them, because I didn't want to go and be the one guy, you know, with guys like Emil Richards and John Bergamo and Alan Estes, all the percussionists who worked on that orchestral gig. I didn't want to be the one who didn't know the stuff, you know. So,
scary stuff.
Yeah, it
better
was.
you than me.
Yeah, well, you know, and I'm really glad it was like boot camp, you know, and you know, I'm glad I had that experience. I'll always be entirely and utterly grateful to Frank for that, because otherwise I'd be nothing. And, you know, he was a brilliant man and musician. But enough about that. So moving on from there, from Berkeley.
No, talk more about Frank. No, I'm just kidding.
From Berkeley, where did you go then?
Well, within the first 2 weeks of Berkeley, I met John Petrucci and John Mayung, who are the guitarist and the bass player in Dream Theater, and that was literally 25 years ago. We've been together ever since.
That's a beautiful thing when you...
It really is. I mean, we went straight from high school to meeting immediately in college, and we had the same taste in music. We all happened to be from Long Island. Those two were up there together, and I was up by myself. But, you know, we immediately found out we were from the same area of Long Island, which is incredible, being, you know, Berkeley is just filled with people from all over the world. And we had the same taste in music. We were into progressive music like Rush and Yes and Genesis and the Dixie Dregs and Zappa and stuff like that. But at the same time, we were really into the hard rock metal scene that was going on in the mid-'80s. You know, bands like Metallica were just coming around, and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and Black Sabbath. And in the mid-'80s, it was, progressive music was the term progressive was a dirty word in the mid-'80s. So when we met and formed this band, you know, the bands like Genesis and Yes and Rush were kind of doing more poppy stuff by the mid-'80s. And so we were feeling this void of odd time signatures and long 15-minute epics, you know, that we loved, and we were just doing what we felt was filling a void within our musical tastes.